guys, good morning. Miss Gentry here. It is good to be back. I hope you guys enjoyed that snow day and that nice long weekend. Pretty chilly this morning. If you are a group, you're at home right now and you've checked in with me and you are watching this short lesson and then you're going to get to work for the day. Today we are still focused on reading, so I really hope you didn't forget to bring your book home with you, and you have that book that you checked out for me or whatever book you're reading, because most of the time in class today I want you to spend your time reading. These are the slides that are on Google Classroom. I'm just going to go through real quickly and talk you through what I want you to work on today while you're reading. However, most of your time should be spent reading your book. Just find a quiet reading spot in your house. The kids at school will also be spending quite a bit of time in class reading and doing a different activity in class. So after you finish reading time today, you're going to do a creative reading response. And with a creative reading response in your notebook, in your reader's notebook and / writer's notebook, I want you to find a way to make your thinking visible. So as we're reading books, I want you to find a way to show your thinking about the book. So you have a lot of freedom in how you show that today and a lot of creativity in how you show your thinking. As we go through these slides, I want you to think, I love this quote, reading is like breathing in, writing is like breathing out. So as you read, you sit and you take in all this information, you enjoy this story, whatever it is you're reading. And then I want you to be able to write about your reading. That thinking that goes on in your head, you're now breathing out and processing everything that you just read and putting it on paper. So when you're assigned a creative reading response, we'll do these more than once. You'll use these slides for ideas, and your response needs to be in your reader's notebook. So remember, I actually left my notebook at work last week, but we have our notebook divided into two, and the second half is the reading half. So if you flip to that reading section, just open up to the next blank page. That's where you're going to do your your creative reading response. Just pick a page. It could be just one page long. You might use both pages. It just depends on what it is that you want to, how you want to respond to your reading from class today. I'll continue to add ideas to these slides as the quarter progresses. You guys can give me ideas and cool ways to respond to your reading as we come up with ideas together. So these slides might get longer in the future. So one thing I do want you to include on your reading response is the title of the book, because some of you might be switching back and forth between books, or you might finish a book really quick and then your next reading response will be about a different book. So make sure the title's on there somewhere. Doesn't hurt to include the author as well. So always include that so that we know, or I know when I look at your notebook too, and you remember what reading you were responding to. So here's a quick list of ideas. And again, this is not all inclusive. If you come up with a different idea, great. We will add to this list as the quarter progresses. So choose one each time you're asked to do a creative reading response. You don't have to sit and do all of these. You're just going to choose one way to respond to your reading today. So maybe you spend about an hour of class time reading, and class is about 80 minutes long. So if you spent an hour reading, that would give you about 20 minutes of work time to do your reading response. And I do want the majority of your time should be reading. So, about 80 to 90% of your time should be reading. And then, 10 to 20% of your time should be creating this reading response. So make sure that most of your class time today is spent just getting into the book that you've chosen. So you could draw and write about the characters, or you could pick one character. And I want you to use your creativity in your responses. It doesn't just have to be a written response. It could be all in pictures. So if I was to write about the character of my characters in my book, I would probably draw the character, how I'm envisioning the character in my head. If there's more than one character that's really important, I could draw each one, and then maybe write some words that represent the character around the character. things that the character likes, I might add hobbies, etc. Maybe character traits where I say, oh, this character is really kind and caring and has a big family. So things that define the character, you could draw and write around it. You could choose a powerful scene. So maybe like there was a really cool scene in the book that you just read and you want to draw that or respond to it. You could do a written response or a visual response, or best would be a combination of both. So you could draw or write about a powerful scene from the book. You could write about the setting, so where the story takes place, and maybe it's a fantasy land and you want to like sketch out the map or how you're envisioning the place looks in your head. You could create a page that represents the mood of the story. Maybe I'm thinking of some of the kind of creepier books I've read, and I could really draw the mood of the story and images that represent that kind of ominous, creepy mood. You could start asking questions. You could draw some pictures and write questions all around them. Questions that you have about the books, about the book you're reading. It could be predictions, questions about the character, characters, questions about what's going to happen next. And again, you could also add predictions about what you think is going to happen. You could also capture just character emotions and words and images. Really, this is up to you. However you are inspired to respond, feel free to be creative and create that response. So really use your imagination and your creativity to respond to your novel in a way that makes sense to you. I'm going to show you just a couple of student examples here. This one is a creative response to the book Gregor the Overlander. This one is a student notebook where the student contrasted the different worlds or settings that a character can inhabit in the same text. So this is the Underland and this is the Overland. So two different worlds, lots of drawings that represent each setting, and then some text explaining what happens in both of these settings. So you can definitely do a response where you include images and short descriptions about the setting. This one right here is a creative response to the book The Book Thief, which is a great World War II novel. Those of you that like World War II or Holocaust novels, I love this book. But this one is a timeline. So you can see the line here in the events of the important events that happen to a character. So maybe you're further into your book and you could create a timeline of events that are happening in your book. This one is a response to the Hunger Games that uses images and a lot of color to represent the story, and some text asking question like, will Peeta give up Katniss's secret? Her secret with a bow and arrow, question mark. So questions that the reader had while reading the book. And the tree significant is a symbol in the book that stood out to this reader. Here's another one about character traits like I was talking about to the short story Popularity. You could draw your character and then write traits around the character that really represent who this character is. So this character's name is Will, and this student said Will is ruthless, Will is observant, Will is bitter and hopeful, and then gave examples of how he is those things. So you could look at your character and write traits around your character to describe them. You could do that for one character or more than one if you want. So today, to reiterate, happy reading today. Most of your work time, once you're done watching this video, should be spent just reading your book. And then when you're done, spend about 20 minutes creating one of a creative response in your notebook. Could be all in pictures, all in words, or it could be a combination of both. So I'm really excited to kind of see what you come up with on your own. And when you come to class tomorrow, I'll be looking at those creative reading responses. Happy reading, and feel free to shoot me a message if you have any questions, and I'll try to get to you an answer to you by the end of the day. Now let's see if I can figure out how to stop the video. There we go. So happy reading, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.